Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Black Butler, chapter 187. When we last left our heroes, Lau had confronted Baldroy about not wanting to kill everyone at the sanatorium. I called Lau Ling several dozen times, to my infinite embarrassment. And Lau nearly killed Baldroy. But Baldroy stopped him by reminding him that while the Phantom Hive family and the Qingbang were allies for now, killing a Phantom Hive servant without CL's permission would lead to some problems. So they end on this, uneasy truce. Ronald Knox is there, being weird and not quite sure where he fits into the plot right now. But the next day, Ada seemingly turns her back on her promise with Baldroy to betray the Aurora Society by giving them the blood. But as the Aurora Society henchman guy leaves, we see Baldroy stalking him from the trees. And that's where we leave off. Presumably with Baldroy gonna, rain some havoc or something. But we have here a cover picture. Baldroy, it seems to be... I thought he was, up in the branches last month. But this might be... If I'm wrong about that, this might be, a canon cover picture. Because it's him in a forest that could be the one that surrounds Athena. In the same outfit and gun he was in last month. Chapter 187, The Butler Going Alone. And our blurb here is just, it's D-Day. Which, it's distinctly not D-Day. But okay. Alright. So we pick up basically where we left off, but from Ada's perspective, as she watches the Aurora Society leave, we see she's clearly troubled about what she's done. We flash back to the night before. It's pouring down rain. She heads back to... She's running out of the main building to that separate tower where they draw the blood that she showed Lau and Baldroy way back at the beginning of this arc. And she opens the refrigerator. We haven't even collected half the amount they demanded. If we do not meet their demands, they will stop funding the sanatorium. My life will be in danger as well. But I cannot inflict harm on our patients anymore. That man's had to leave things to him. But what on earth does he plan to do? So here's the thing, because last month, the Aurora Society guy said that Ada had met her quota. But here she's saying we haven't even collected half the amount. So something happened in the next day, in the past 12 hours, that gave her a massive increase of blood. And I'm not sure what that is. But she hears a knock on the door, and it's Baldroy, who maybe has a plan. Because Baldroy takes off his hood and says, "Lend me a hand." And Ada looks at him confused. Oh, that's the plan. Pig blood. Fake blood. The guy didn't, test the DNA of the blood. They don't even know what DNA is for 70 years. Though maybe with all of the mysticism the Aurora Society has, they might. But Ada looks confused. But pigs? Why on earth did you... But Baldroy tells her, I got them from a farmer in the neighborhood. Give their blood to the organization. Eh? And Baldroy tells her, pretend you're meeting their demands. That should buy us some time. And as they're, crawling up, or climbing up the stairs, wait, if pig blood is used for blood transfusions, the worst case scenario is patients lose their lives. I guess, yeah, she's thinking if the Aurora Society gives this blood to people, that could be really bad. I guess, does even Baldroy know what they're using the blood for? Or does he just know CL says stop them from using the blood, therefore we must stop them from using blood? That's a little unclear, actually. Maybe it was clear, 50 chapters ago when we started Sphere Music Hall. Or no, 70 chapters ago when we started this arc. In 2015 or 16 or whatever the fuck it was. But right now, I'm not entirely sure if Baldroy knows the details, or if he just knows CL says this is bad, and I'm his servant. Either way, the worst case scenario is patients lose their lives. And Baldroy tells her, you're one to talk. But, okay. I'll do something, so this blood never gets to their client. And he gives this sparkly grin at her. Don't you worry. Which takes us back to the present, which is what, Baldroy is doing. He's going to raid them. That's sort of the setup to last week's flashback. But in the present, I guess Ada's so lost in thought because someone calls nurse, chief nurse. Oh, and it's what's her face, the little girl, like Layla or something. I don't remember her name. I looked up her name last month. I remember looking her name up last month, and I've forgotten it again. It might be Lila or Lyra. Let me see if I can find Layla. It was Layla. That's what it is. Who I remember thinking was like a little suspicious. I forgot why she was a little suspicious. But anyway, Layla's there. You look grim. Are you not feeling well? And Ada kind of laughs it off. No, I'm fine. And she like tries to put on this brave face. It'll soon be time for the healthy, vigorous calisthenics. I must shake our patients awake. I'll go get my bugle. And she walks off, and Layla seems concerned. I will say, it seems like a genuine concern, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, back with Baldroy, who is watching the guy take the blood away. He eyes the crates full of blood. But before he can do anything, these two hooded the carriage carrying the blood reaches another carriage led by two hooded men, who stops the carriage. Thank you for bringing the shipment. And we see this like little band on this little wristband on his arm. I'm not sure if that's meant to be like a known symbol of the Aurora Society. I thought their symbol was the Phoenix. I don't know, but it's clearly important because Yana focuses on it. And the hooded the main of the two hooded men asks, "Did they do as ordered this time?" "Yes. Here's the blood." And the leader sort of wonders. They kept complaining and whining, so why the change of heart? Guess it doesn't matter. Load them into the carriage. And they're being loaded into the carriage, but the hooded leader stops the worker. Wait. And that gets Baldroy's attention. We will examine the blood. Do they have some way to tell that's not human blood? Is that a thing these guys have? But they pour it into this cup. That it looks kind of like a teacup, but there's these like designs on it. There's words on the rim of the cup. I'm curious what this could be. Your tea, many cubious things I see when. And then there's these symbols that, like, maybe it's the zodiac. Like, there's a crab, there's scales. I don't know. But it's some sort of device, I guess, that'll tell the truth about this blood. The worker asks, what exactly are you going to examine? But the man just says, hand it here. And he puts a drop of the blood in the solution he's poured into the cup. And he realizes the trap. This is not human blood! And he throws it down. It's fake! How dare that dwarf star bite the hand that feeds her? That gentleman wants us to turn her into a meteor if she defied us again. That's some weird terminology. How dare that dwarf star bite the hand that feeds her? That gentleman wants us to turn her into a meteor if she defied us again. There's something going on there. There's something to pick at there. Something to chisel away at. Because these guys seem new. You know, I don't think there was that at the end of the Heathfield flashback or the Heathfield mini arc. There was that guy who reported to Undertaker and Real CL, and I don't think this is him. And whoever this guy is doesn't seem to really know who his boss is. That gentleman is really vague. It's like it's not the boss, not our boss. That gentleman is just kind of a vague term. I don't know. It's a weird thing there. But either way, the other man pulls out a pistol. Then I shall make her fall. And he calls out, listen up, driver. But just then, the horses panic, rear up. Baldroy's done something. The guys look up in shock. Hey, where do you think you're going? And we see the driver's already been killed by Baldroy, and there's a knife sticking in the horse's rear end that's caused this panic. And then, as they're all standing there in shock, the non-leading, the one who's going to go shoot Ada, takes a bullet to the back of the brain. Eek! And he falls over. The two survivors look out. Who is it? Where are they? And the other hooded man takes a bullet in the head. He's dead. And then the driver takes a shoulder wound, I think. He's not dead there, but the two more like ringleadery guys are. So yeah, that stopped the blood right then and there. And Baldroy steps up to their corpses. Sorry, I'm used to jungle warfare. Yeah, he just kicked their fucking asses like that. I didn't think they'd figure it out so fast, but I was able to buy some time. And then he just walks away and says to himself, I'll return to the sanatorium for now, and then he freezes, drops his cigarette out of his mouth, and turns back. Oh. Oh shit. He takes a knife to the back. He falls over. And someone, I just saw who it was, pulls a knife out his back. Oh dear. You left the facility without permission, bad boy. And it's Layla. A naughty swine. Must be punished. To be continued. Okay, so I was right about there being something up with Layla. I'm gonna see if there was like briefly glancing at her wiki article. It doesn't quite seem to be I'm wondering if she's like tied to Nox. If Nox is somehow wrapped up in all of this. Because Nox clearly knows something. He's not here randomly. There's no way in hell a Shinigami just happens to be in the same place as the Undertaker's, grand mission. That's not a coincidence. That's not some random thing. And looking at her, the little bit of plot we have for her on the wiki, there's no sign of Layla being particularly connected to Nox that would imply that Nox is tied up in all this. So I don't know. Still no telling what exactly is going on with Nox. But I was right. Layla is suspicious. She sticks a knife in Baldroy's back. That's... I mean, I guess it's not inherently fatal, and I hope Baldroy isn't dead. Especially after all the time Yana spent giving us his backstory. It would make those past 8 or 9 months feel extra useless if Baldroy just dies like that. I don't know what that's going to lead to. Beyond, I imagine next month we're going to get answers. We're going to get definitive answers as to what Layla's doing here, maybe even what Nox is doing here. I think next month, things in the sanatorium arc are going to at least start to really snap into place. Things have been kind of confusing before now, but with this, I think it's going to be sort of, boom. Where was I? I lost train of thought there. Boom. We'll all have a little bit of a better idea what's going on with her, with Nox, with all the missing pieces in this sanatorium story. But yeah, the chapter itself is fun. I think there could be, I can imagine a bit of a snide comment about going right back to a flashback on page 2, but it does the job. It's relatively important. It's the sort of thing that wouldn't have bothered anyone if it had been told in chronological order last month. But it makes for a better, last month's cliffhanger makes for a much better cliffhanger than ending midway through this scene would have. So it's all well and good. It worked very well. But then yeah, we cut to a scene that ends up being kind of useless. These guys die so fast that spending all this time with them working out what's going on with the blood. We spend a good from the Hooded Men's arrival to their death is a good 6 out of 18 pages. So it's a good third of the chapter with these guys who were just meticulously working out what's going on with the blood just to sort of die. It's not bad, and I sound like I feel like I'm complaining just to complain, I think, and I don't want to be that kind of person. But I don't know. I'm trying to work out what my thoughts are there. It's Butler, and Butler, especially in the past 6 or so years, is just so fucking meticulous and slow. So this is far from the worst thing Yana has done in the past few years. So I'm not really complaining. But it is an interesting note how little, we have these two mysterious figures, and it seemed like they're going to be kind of a big deal in the immediate future, and they're just not. Baldroy shoots him in the head, and he's done. The real threat, of course, is Layla. Which, I kind of saw coming, but not quite this dramatically. So, we'll see what's going on with Layla. Because Layla... So, okay, here's the thing with Layla. Because, this might have worked... It's not that it didn't work well. That's not what I'm getting at. But, the thing with Layla is that we saw her briefly a year and a half ago or so, and then we didn't see her for a year, and then we saw her again, and now we know she's evil. And it just doesn't hit because we don't know her very well. It doesn't hit as strong as it might have because we just don't know this character at all. She's just kind of there. The whole surprise works off of how innocent she looks, which that works well enough. But a version of the story, I don't know. I don't think the problem is we needed more Layla. I think Layla's a minor enough character that we're not really hurt by her being sort of minor. I think it's more. It all goes back to the Baldroy flashback. My problem all goes back to the Baldroy flashback. It did not need to be however many chapters it was. Cutting it in half would have made Layla's initial appearance and her betrayal much more recent, and so they would feel much more connected, I think. I don't know. It works well enough. I'm not trying to be overly critical. It works well enough. It just feels like it could have been a little bit better. But that's neither here that's neither here nor there. What are you gonna do? Either way, really good work. There's some good shit this chapter. It's fun. It's exciting. It's a little tense when the guy realizes there's something wrong with the blood. It's really I somewhat criticized the hooded guy section for being kind of superfluous, but looking at it again, there is some real genuine tension here as Baldroy realizes he's about to be had. That's just some good shit, right? That's that. Blah, 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 blah. I don't have my water bottle this week, so my throat is dry at this point. There's some genuinely good tension here, is what I'm getting at. And that tension only skyrockets once Layla literally stabs Baldroy in the back. So it's maybe the most excited a Butler cliffhanger has made me in a long time. I'm really excited to see where we go from here. And it's not every month I can say that with this series. So, with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!